Celtics fans, y'all love to call us out. Celtics fans, y'all love to call us out, right? So I'm gonna call you guys out this time.
Woo! All right, we had some technical difficulties. I was trying to do something; it did not work. I don't know what was going on. Hold on, I'm gonna try something real quick. You know what? Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. It didn't work. It was a fail. I tried it. It didn't work. I'm sorry about that. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back in to, I guess what you could say, Celtics post game live, but kind of the next day after that thing we've been doing. We're just kind of come in, we talk the next day, we get a night full of clarity, a night full of to gather our thoughts to talk about this win. My God, Justin. I mean, what we witnessed last night was something I don't think I ever thought I'd witness being a Celtics fan. The luck of the Irish was on our side last night. Derek White tip in with 0.2 seconds left. Celtics become one of 4 teams after trailing down 0-3 to force a game 7. Important note within that stat, none of those other 3 teams have had a game 7 on their home court. I believe what are the 51 Rochester Knicks, the 06 Mavericks, and then one other team I believe have done it, forced a game 7. Celtics joined that elite company as the 4th. Game 7 will be tomorrow night, 8:30. I will be in-house. But before we talk about game 7, Justin, let's talk about game 6 because there is so much to dive down and dive into. You know the drill. Your thoughts, your reactions, your takeaways, your opinions. Let me hear everything because there is a lot.
Yeah, there's a lot to process. Up 10 with about 4:38 to go. It felt as if Boston let go of that, let go of the rope. I believe that was a great timeout call by Joe Mazzulla. They had a timeout to burn. So with 4:38 to go, I bet you the message was, do not get complacent. Do not get comfortable. 10
And
points.
they did.
Nothing. And they did. But you got to give credit to Joe there. I thought this was another solid game coached by Joe. I would have loved to see Tatum in for that entire fourth quarter, but now we're nitpicking. But at the same time, look, Jason Tatum kind of had a slower second half, but the way he came out in that first half was unbelievable. Jaylen Brown showed up. Jaylen Brown started the game 6 for 6. So we needed that energy. We talked about it in T. Sweezy's pregame show. We needed that energy. We needed that start for the Celtics. We could not afford to, in an elimination game on the road, could not afford to fall behind early. And the Celtics didn't do that. They actually dictated this game. They did not let their offense dictate their defense until when it mattered most down the stretch. But for the most part, the Celtics did a solid job. They shot, I believe, 7 of 37, which was one of the worst, if not the worst shooting.
It was the worst shooting performance they had all season.
And they won the game. Derek White, we'll get into him later. I know that, but Derek White, it wasn't the game winner for me, Rob. It was he had this huge full-blown confidence shot off of a Robert Williams screen at the top of the key to make it a 95-88 game. And then he blocked met Jimmy Butler at the rim. Then he forced a jump ball and won the jump ball with Jimmy Butler. Like there were just these winning plays that we didn't get from Derek White this time last year that we're getting now, and the season continues. And Derek White quite literally saved the season for Boston.
Can we get a sock check on D White? Was there some potential blood bleeding from that sock? Because it sure felt like it. That game 6 was amazing. And listen, as much as you want to think and say Miami is a strong-minded individual group, and as much as you want to think that Miami's going to come out and give you their best shot, which I think is still potentially on the table for a game 7, but they're human at the end of the day, and that was the most demoralizing way to lose a basketball game. We knew coming into this game that it was going to be a dogfight. If
Right.
you thought Boston was going to go into Miami here and just and run away with it, you were just wrong and mistaken. I think there were things that Boston didn't do that hurt them big time. But someone I have to give credit to and a big shout out to again is Marcus Smart. Derek was phenomenal. We're gonna get into Derek White. We're gonna listen to his post game interview. But my God, Marcus Smart, 21 points, 20 plus in back to back games. He hit 4. He took 11 threes, which was a lot. But he knocked down. Him and Derek White were the only 2 individuals to hit threes on the team. Brown 0 for 4, Tatum 0 of 8, Horford 0 for 2, Grant 0 for 3.
Yeah, there was a
Those 21 points that Boston hit were huge. Miami, mind you, on the other hand, their hot shooting streak continues. They shot 35% from the floor. Credit goes to Boston's defense. But they shot 47% from beyond the arc and outscored Boston 21 point. They doubled Boston's 3-point, and usually you win a game. And here's a little stat for you, right? Real quick, Justin, before you go. When a team shoots 45 plus percent from the 3-point line in NBA history, and the opposing team that they're playing shoots under 25%, the record is 89-0 until last night. That was the first time in NBA history we've seen a team shoot under 25% while the opposing team was shooting over 45% from beyond the arc and them win. So, in order to pull something off that Boston's trying to pull off, it takes a miracle. It takes that lucky bounce. And Boston has been waiting for that lucky bounce for some time now.
Yeah, I think it's really, really important to note Marcus Smart started this game shooting 4 of 6 from 3. He seemed to be, when Jaylen Brown was forced to sit out due to foul trouble, 4 fouls early in the third quarter, Marcus Smart stepped up, and he was that guy. I think over time, I think everybody gets a little frustrated with Marcus Smart and his 3-point shooting, but I think at the end of the day, when it matters most, Marcus Smart has been there at the biggest moments for the Celtics, especially in these playoffs. So you definitely have to tip your hat off to Marcus Smart, and realize that he's put us in a tremendous position just as much as Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown have. So I think that's really important to give him his flowers as well, because everybody's so quick to jump on Marcus Smart, and everybody's so quick to, trade Marcus Smart or oh my God, he costed us a game. But when it matters most, and when he does make the winning plays, I feel as if he doesn't get enough credit. So, certainly want to, touch base on that as well, Rob. But I mean, again, we sit here and we are, we mentioned, we kind of jumped on here 14, 12 hours after the game, and we still can't process what the hell just happened. You have to give credit for Boston, though, when, excuse my language, but when shit was hitting the fan in the final 4 minutes, Boston stayed with it. And you might say, it took a lucky bounce off the rim for the Celtics to win this game. It was like, yeah, the Celtics.
Damn straight it did.
Yeah, but you know what, though, Rob? The Celtics stayed locked in. Derek White stayed locked in. You crash the glass. You give yourself an opportunity. And if you miss that rebound, you don't get that rebound, or you miss the shot, you at least you tried. You went down trying. Derek White, give credit. You play through the final buzzer. That's what they did.
I'm exhausted, man. That just shows you how much sleep I got last night.
You're acting like you played 48 minutes in this game.
No, I know, but I felt like I did. But no, you're absolutely right. And I was listening to Spoelstra's. I stayed up all night to watch every post-game interview. I was interested to see what everyone had to say. And Spoelstra said something that caught my attention. And he kind of said, he wasn't upset with the execution, and that ball bounced in the only spot it couldn't bounce. And I disagree. Boston had that entire rim covered. White had the left side. If you go back and you watch the replay, Tatum had the right side. Tatum also dove to the basket, and no Miami defender crashed the glass. They sat and watched. So while, yes, it was a lucky bounce, and I thought Smart Shot was going to fall. Smart Shots was halfway through. But if you're Miami, you can't allow that lucky bounce to affect the game. You can't just hope and pray that your season is that lucky bounce isn't going to happen. You have to crash the glass. And, you see Strus defend Tatum 30 feet out.
Yep.
Why? I get it. Get the ball out of Tatum's hand, but Tatum was at the half court line. Where there's 3 seconds. He's 0 of 8 from beyond the arc. He catches that ball. He's not going to be able to get a shot off. That's a good one. Instead, Strus plays Tatum, lives up a decent look from Smart, tough one, leaves his man to dive to the basket and get the tip in. So was there luck involved? Absolutely. But I think there was some poor execution on Miami's side that no one's talking about.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm gonna pull up the Derek White buzzer beater in just a second.
Can I just say one thing?
Yeah, you can. That actually helped me. Yes.
Marcus Smart, fadeaway 3, triple teamed, nearly sinks it. Yet we've seen him airball and hit the side of the backboard on wide open threes. I don't get how these players can consistently produce high level shots and make it, or at least be close to make high level shots. But if he's wide open, he probably would have bricked that. So, give credit to Smart. That was a lot of the best miss of his career. And that kind of reminded me of that game in 2014, if you remember, Rob, in Toronto. Isaiah Thomas went up, and I forget if he got blocked, but it ended up in Smart's hands, and Smart was right
he tipped it in.
Time. He tipped it in. That kind of felt like that. But big win. Win is a win is a win, Rob.
Oh, I mean, absolutely. And it's like, again, you need luck in this situation. Yep. And I'm so impressed on how this group has managed to stay together.
Right.
You hear everyone's post-game interview. Let's rewind back to around 6 days ago, after game 3. Some unanimous report comes out that Boston's locker room is tired of fake liking each other, and that you think Brown's going to ask out, and this team has quit, and this team has no fight, and this team needs to get blown up, and this and that. And if you go back and you watch my reaction to game 3, there were questions that were presented after that game 3 loss that were needed to be addressed, such as coaching, bench depth, certain players. If it just isn't going to work out, there were certain things you had to talk about and address. I addressed that. However, I was confident there was a chance. It was unlikely, but we saw that something as crazy as this Derek White tip-in has led to a Boston Game 7. Let's watch this replay, because it has to.
White will inbound. It's off to Smart for the 7th game. Could have been tipped in, but the buzzer sounded. The light was on. It'll be reviewed.
I don't think he got that in time. Great effort by Derek White.
And didn't I say you have...
Oh, they're saying on the floor, they're counting it.
You have to protect the offensive rebounding.
Oh, he got rid of it. That's a Celtic win, and we're going to Game 7.
The Celtics are going to win. There's a Game 7 back in Boston.
Ruling on the floor is good basket. The play's under review.
White.
What a finish to this game.
Stunned. People here are absolutely stunned. A rush shot that went in and out, by the way, by Marcus Smart. That's what allowed Derek White the offensive rebounding opportunity. Bucket.
It still gives me chills. It's still nuts. It still is just such, and it couldn't have happened to a better guy. And I really am happy that anyone on this team, that it was Derek White who tipped that ball in. Let's listen to what White had to say in his post-game interview. It's about 6 minutes long. We're going to play this, and then after this, we're going to talk about it.
Derek White played the entire fourth quarter, led the Celtics in fourth quarter scoring with 8 of his 11 coming in the final quarter. He also made 2 threes, only threes made by the Celtics in the fourth.
Vincent was on me, and he kind of was up top denying JT, so I couldn't get hit the ball. And I did a good job of denying JB too, and smart flash hit him, and there really was nobody on me. So I just spaced to the corner, and then when he shot it, just tried to crash. Ball came to me, I made a shot, so that's what I saw.
Did you know it was good when you put it back?
It felt good. Everybody's asking me, he's like, did you get it off? And I was like, yeah, I think so. But, I mean, it was so close, you never know.
Derek, what was that string of emotions like for you and the team after that situation? You guys were up 10 with 4 minutes left there. It looked like it was slipping away, like for you individually and just to save the season on that front. What did that feel like?
You know, we're just happy we won. However we got to get it done, we got it done. Now it's on to Game 7.
Sort of along those lines, you guys went 7 for 35 from 3 today. Obviously got a bunch of decent looks, couldn't make them. But over the course of the year, those tend to be the games you guys have let slip away. What was different about today?
When we stick together. Obviously, JB and JT were special, and smart. But, I mean, we just stick together. Keep getting good looks, keep moving the ball, and defensively, I think we're really good, too. So, obviously, there's a lot we can improve on, and we're going to need to be better for Game 7.
Derek, how are you guys doing this? I mean, have won 3 straight, only 4 teams have ever come back to force a Game 7. What's been the key to the turnaround?
One game at a time, sticking together. I mean, the same things we've been saying this whole time. We had a great locker room, and we just take it in one game at a time.
Looked like you got emotional out there on the court. What does this moment mean for you to save the season, an elimination game on the road, to have everything on the ropes, kind of a disaster right before that happened? What does it just mean to you, that moment?
I was just happy. I mean, like you said, the season was on the line. We don't want to go home, and so I was just happy we got the win.
Joe just said that you guys chose to believe in each other when your backs were against the wall after Game 3. How crucial was it for you guys to get together, kind of reaffirm your bond as friends and teammates before even worrying about the basketball stuff?
I mean, if you've been around us the whole season, you know how close this locker room is. You see how we're always joking around. Everybody's getting along, and I mean, when times are tough, it's easy to kind of point the fingers, per se. But we just stuck together, cared for each other, and we got one more game to go.
Derek, when you saw Smart wasn't going to hit you, you darted for the rim. Is that? I mean, that seems like you're something you're taught in youth ball. Attack, go for the board. What was going through your mind when you just kind of made an L move? And then secondly, you're a guy who doesn't like a lot of publicity. You're a man of few words, but what's it like to kind of be on the podium, the walk-off interview, the center of attention? How do you deal with that over the next 48 hours and probably all the text messages you'll have when you look at your phone?
Yeah, I mean, it don't do no good to stand in the corner there, whether he makes it or not. So I just was crashing the glass, and it came right to me. But yeah, it's gonna be a little crazy. My phone's already blowing up, but get home tomorrow, play with Hendricks. I'm sure he won't look at me any differently, so that would be cool.
Derek, I mean, you had a huge game before that, some big threes and an outstanding job defending Jimmy Butler. What was your mentality, and how were you able to come in here and, I mean, win this game, will this game?
Whatever it takes. It didn't matter when I scored 11 or 20 or 0. I mean, we win, I'm happy, and this is my mindset, just whatever it takes.
Hey, Derek, right here. Just kind of piggybacking off that, Jimmy was 0 of 6 when you were on him. What was the approach there in order to try to lock him down? And it's just, how were you able to do it?
I mean, he's a great player. I mean, some big shots, especially down the stretch there. I just try to make it difficult for him. Try to keep him off the foul line. I mean, he's going to make tough shots. He's going to get to where he wants to. We just try to make it tough on him.
Derek, obviously that was like an emotional end leading up to that. They make the comeback, they take the lead. Can you kind of bring us inside that last huddle a little bit, what guys were saying, what the mood was, and like Joe was saying how you guys always talk about everybody crash. Did that come up in that moment? Like just kind of what were you guys discussing?
No, I don't. At least I didn't hear anybody say everybody crashed, but we've talked about it pretty much the whole year. Everybody just like make a play. That's all it was right there, make a play.
How were you guys able to keep your poise?
I don't know if poise is a great word to use with that last 4 minutes, but we found a way to win.
Derek, I think your dad said this is your first game winner ever. Are there any moments from your career that compare to this?
First game winner ever? I had something, especially when I college or something. I'm gonna check my dad on that one, but I mean, this is special. This is the playoffs, Game 6, back against the wall. I mean, this is definitely special.
Special is a good way to put it. And I just want to talk about how great Derek White answered all of those questions. And honestly, not just Derek White, everyone, but I mean, you have to give Derek White his credit. It would be so easy to sit up there and say a lot like what we've seen from Miami, we're going to win game 7 and what a play I made and this and that. And we're the cockiness and you won 3 straight, but the humility that Derek White has been able to have and the fact that Derek White in this Celtics team continue to just stay together. It wasn't a game-winning play that Derek White made. It was a game-winning play that the Boston Celtics made. Right. And I think that shows a level in continuity, I guess, over the last 3 games. And that, I think, is a big reason as to how they've been able to pull this off. The fact is the Celtics shot their worst percentage from 3. Tatum was 1 of 7 in the second half. The Celtics had 7 fewer the Heat had 7 fewer turnovers than the Celtics, made 7 more threes than the Celtics. They were at home, and yet we have a game 7, Justin.
Yeah.
Where is Miami's head at right now?
So, first of all, I think, Miami still believes they can win this series. I still believe that Miami has a chance, obviously. I think Game 7 could go anybody's way. But I think, Miami has to go out on the podium and say, I believe we have a chance. I believe we will win. You really think they're going to sit there, especially Jimmy Butler, and say, we're going to lose. We're going to get killed. We're going to lose. We might as well not go. No, of course not. But at the same time, you have had, and I said this, I don't know if you watched, Rob, but I went live this morning on our Instagram, and I was talking about, Miami has had 3 consecutive chances to close this series out, 2 of which being on their home court where they were previously 6-0 starting this series, after they were up 3-0. And they didn't. They failed 3 straight games, 2 of which on their home court. And I think Miami's head is a little bit confused. I think they got headaches right now. I think they've been just absolutely, I don't know the word. I think they're, we'll go to the vocab word last year, mind boggled. They're mind boggled right now. Really. Yeah. I mean, only 5 teams, 4 other teams. Boston is the 5th team to force a game 7. Boston's situation's a little bit different. Boston was able to have games 5 and 7 on their home court. It's not like Boston forced a game 7, they won on their home court, and they go back to Miami, and Miami's the home team. No. Miami had 3 chances, 2 of which on their home court to close the series out, and they did not do that. Now they're going to go to now they're going to go to Boston. They're going to go to Beantown for a game 7. It's not impossible, but let's just say they certainly, I think they also have an uphill battle to climb as well, as Boston how do I put this? Miami's had 3 chances to close the series out. Boston only has 1 chance to close the series out. Can they do it in that one shot? Can they do it in that one chance that they have?
I mean,
Right?
I said this. I said this at the beginning of the show. You gotta. I'm sure Miami has a mindset that they can still do this, but I don't really know if that's the case. You were 0.2 seconds away from the NBA Finals. Even if this series wasn't 0-3, if you lose this game, even if it was 2-2 back in Boston for game 5 and Boston loses that game, and then Boston goes into game 6 and wins it like this, I don't know if you go back to game 7 and you win. I mean, we've seen plays like this in NBA history happen. The Ray Allen corner 3 in game 6 against the San Antonio Spurs. One play can completely derail the series. It just is momentum. It's just a sense in which you lose faith. And that was Miami's best punch, I think. Maybe I'm wrong because at the end of the day, Jimmy and Bam, well, Jimmy couldn't get it going.
Right.
And credit to the Celtics. Boston's defense has been great in games 4, 5, and 6. And I think that credits why Jimmy hasn't been able to get going. However, you got to give Jimmy Butler his respect. You'd figure he's going to come in game 7 and looking for a win. I just don't know where everyone else's head's going to be at. Like, how much do words, and it's okay, guys, we got this, we can win this, right? Because at the end of the day, that's all they can think and say. How much does that actually affect their mindset and their play? Because you got Boston saying the exact same thing. Come on, guys, we can still win this. Yet they got all the momentum on their side. The Garden is going to be rocking, Justin. It is going to be one of the craziest basketball environments we have ever witnessed. And I'm not exaggerating. The Celtics are on the verge of doing something no team in the history, the 76 long years, the 151 or 50 attempts at being down 0-3. No team has ever won a series down 0-3. The Celtics are at home on the verge of completing arguably the greatest comeback in NBA history. I think LeBron's 3-1 still takes the cake over ours. Just, the circumstances and the team they were playing was much better. However, this is still historic. And the Celtics are on the verge of that. And what I got from the Celtics interviews was very reassuring. It was that we understand the task at hand. We understand that it's not over. We understand that you can't get too caught up on this moment because there is still another 48 minutes of basketball to be played.
Right.
I understand that. Miami has missed 3 times now. They have struck out 3 times. But guess what? Miami still has another shot at this. So I would be surprised if Miami won this game. I wouldn't be surprised if Miami kept this a game throughout 48 minutes. Boston has to be better because I don't know if they play like that again. I don't know if they win.
Right.
Because listen, that was bad. That was bad. We lucked out big time. But sometimes, if you want to win an NBA championship, at some point down the road, you need some luck. Whether it's an injury on the opposing side, whether it's a lucky bounce, whether it's a lucky call, whatever it may be, I guarantee you that a majority of NBA championship runs have had some form of luck go their way. It's part of the game. It's part of being a champion. But part of being a champion, Justin, is understanding that you can't get too high on the highs and you can't get too low on the lows. You have to stay at a constant line and a constant mindset that you are going to stick together. And I think they're going to stick together moving forward.
Yeah, I think the message is just this. Simple as this. We have not done anything. 3-3 is not 4-3. It's the first we've seen very evidently it's the first to 4, not 3. We have won our last 3 games, but none of that matters if we go lose tonight. The only thing on our minds, and I've said this, my favorite quote from Joe Mazzulla so far, nothing matters right now. Nothing else matters right now than this very moment. What's going on in this very moment. With Boston, I've never seen, and I'm sure we'll get to Tatum's press conference if we have it in the files. I'm sure we have. I've personally never seen Jason Tatum so emotional, so excited about a win than what he showed last night. I think the Celtics realized the task at hand. I think they realized that they are 48 minutes away from not only their second straight NBA Finals appearance, but from making NBA history, from making, Rob, you and I, 20, 30 years from now, when we have our kids, maybe grandkids, we're going to be talking about a potential Celtics being the only team in NBA history, or at least the first team in NBA history to ever come back from 03. Celtics have a really good chance right now. I said this earlier in the show. Typically when you're down, you have this situation, you're playing from behind, you don't have a game 7 on your home court. You got to go on the road and win. They don't have that this time. They have a good opportunity in Boston right now to seize the moment. Miami's had 3. This will be 4 opportunities, Rob. The Heat have had 4 freaking opportunities to close this series out. Boston's only got 1 shot. It's quite literally one or done. Go do it.
For both teams. At the end of the day, you can't control anything that happened, that's happened. But it's like the same time, it's Miami. It's still, I expect them to be fully aware that they have another shot. It's tough to go into Boston in general and close out a game 7 is tough. But they were on the other end of a away team getting sent home. If you remember last year, right? Boston up 3-2 in the Eastern Conference Finals. Miami was up 3-2 this year. Boston blew game 6 at home. Not in as demoralizing fashion, but they blew game 6 at home to go to the NBA Finals. They then went on the road and won game 7 on the road.
Right.
So Miami was on the other end of that last year. So I still think this is not over. It's honestly, if you asked me, it's just getting started. Because I really think Miami's going to throw your best punch at you. But if we talk about the technicalities in the play, what needs to happen now in game 7, right, Justin? Couple things. You have to clean up the turnovers. You shot yourself in the foot time and time again. Slow down. When they're running that zone, take a second and look at what they're running. Play to the proper pace. There were multiple times last 6 minutes of many games this year, but last night, where Boston just stalled. They held the ball for 24 seconds and put up a bad shot. You have to be aware of the situation. Up 10 with 3 minutes in this 2023 NBA really isn't a win.
It's nothing.
It's nothing. It's 3 possessions and you're tied.
Right. Right. And that's the thing is last night, 4.5 minutes left. Mazzulla called a fantastic timeout. You lose one. You lose your timeouts after the 3-minute mark. Mazzulla had one to burn. He burnt it. Probably said, listen, 10 is nothing. Don't get complacent. Celtics did the total opposite. They got complacent. They got comfortable. I remember back, I'm going to sound so old, but I remember back, the Pierce and Garnett days, the Rondo, the Pierce, or the, LeBron, Bosh, and Wade days, a 91 to 79 lead with 10 minutes left was a blowout. The game was over. The subs were in. Nowadays, 91 to 78 with 2 minutes left is a ball game. Anything could happen with the 3-point shot. Duncan Robinson, had he made those 2 threes, we'd be sitting here right now talking about Yamadar in the Celtics Summer League. So right now, seriously,
something tells me you would have enjoyed that too.
But no, seriously though, had those shots gone the different way, we'd be talking about a very much different thing.
You're so right.
Thank you. I think it's very important for Boston to not, again,
you're welcome, man.
This many times, do not get complacent. Yes, you are home, but that essentially that home court has meant nothing in this series. Miami is 2-1 against Boston this season in the TD Garden this series. Boston is 2-1 against Miami in this series in their place, right? You can't do that. No,
you're
like
right. No, I know.
you can't just say we're home, we're good, we forced the game 7, we're back in the series. No. Going 3-0 or forcing it to game 7 means absolutely nothing if you go out and you shit the bed tomorrow on your home court. It doesn't mean anything. You almost made history.
You need to play, if you play the first 24 minutes the best basketball possible. If you have a substantial lead entering halftime, forget it, book it, you're going to the finals. And I'll say that. You know why? Because Miami is already, game 5 you took their hope. Game 6 you took their heart. Game 7 you can take their soul. And you can do that early, right? As corny as it may sound, it's the truth, right? Game 5, they started doubting themselves. They didn't know if their hope wasn't really there anymore. Game 6, well, the heart they had to play for this game, I don't know if it's there anymore. Game 7, you finish them off. Totally. And again, I don't think the Celtics shoot 20% from behind the arc, especially at home. Knock on wood. That's just my prediction. The turnovers thing can still happen. But again, if the Garden's going to be nuts. If they can come out and play a very, very strong first half and have a double-digit lead, obviously not over. You got to play 48 total minutes, right?
Mm-hmm.
But there is a chance that you're putting a lot of pressure on Miami to fold. The chance that Miami folds if you're up double digits at half is high. They're going to get desperate. They're going to take bad shots. But I think that I had a point I was going to make, and I just read a comment, and then went right across my brain. What was I going to say?
God damn it, Brad! You lost Rob's train of thought.
Halftime. I forget. That's a shame.
Do we have the Tatum interview that we can play? Let's play the Tatum interview.
I have a minute. I have a minute of the Tatum interview that I'll play.
All right.
Jason, what was just your viewpoint on that final play and the swing of emotions you guys had in that final 3 seconds there?
Ooh-wee. Oh my God, that was incredible. Man, we drew up a play. They kind of took the way that I was trying to get the ball. Jimmy and Strus jumped out to me, smart, came in and shot it, and we just crashed the glass. And everything was like a blur after that. D. White tipped it in, but, that felt like the longest 10 seconds ever waiting for confirmation if he made it or not. I'm still like in disbelief. That shit was crazy. But, I'm glad we got another chance, another opportunity. It's far from over. It's still an uphill battle, but I feel good to give yourself another chance, another opportunity.
Another chance, another opportunity. Well said.
Woo-wee!
All right, but no, he's
Woo-wee,
right.
mama!
He's right, right? Like, they are presented, and I love how he answered that. Like, he is... Did you say Zooey Mama?
Yeah. Rowley!
He is right. They are presented with an opportunity in Game 7, right? It's not a given. Nothing's a given in the NBA. It's a make or miss league. Luckily, we won off off misses, but I love how the Celtics have continued to answer the media moving forward. It's been opportunity. They understand that there's the opportunity, but that opportunity means nothing if they don't capitalize on that opportunity. They have done a good job through the first 3 games, right? You could argue that the hardest games behind them in game 6 in Miami. But you ask me, I think the hardest game is approaching them because I remember what I was going to say. I remember what I was going to say. The pressure has now shifted back to Boston. Um, you're good, Brad. I gotta stop reading the comments. That's my problem. When I'm not talking, I can read them, but when I'm talking, I gotta stop reading them. The pressure has shifted back to Boston, right? Because think about it. You're on the verge of closing out. Yeah, there's pressure on Miami, right? You might be the first team ever to blow a 3-0 lead for sure. But Boston, on the other hand, has a game 7 to close out at home. If they lose, I would rather them lose game 6 on the road than game 7 at home, right? Easily, not even a question. So, Justin, do you think maybe, just maybe, that Boston, this pressure might be a little too much for Boston? Or do you think that they are so united, they're so locked in, they're so ready, they're so aware of the situation at hand that pressure on Miami? First of all, I want to ask you, who's more pressure entering game 7, Boston or Miami?
Miami, because Boston essentially still, I believe, has nothing to lose. I think they have everything to win. History is not on their side. But at the same time, I think Miami has immense pressure as well because, look, you are up 3-0. I said it earlier. This will be your 4th chance to close out a series. And if you can't do that, there's serious issues within Miami. They were already the 8th seeded. They went from the first seed down to the 8th seed. Kyle Lowry's getting older. Like I don't know. So I think a lot is on the line for Miami. I think with Boston, it's again, another Eastern Conference Finals loss would just be so demoralizing, and to get that close to history would be demoralizing. But I think the pressure is on Miami's side right now. You had, it'll be 4 chances to close it out, and if you cannot do that, you are fully deflated. And I think you look at game 6, you were 0.2 seconds away from throwing on that Eastern Conference Finals hat for the second time in 4 years. And that game was stolen from you. And I think that gives Boston tremendous amounts of confidence. And I think Miami could play the tough game all they want. They could play we'll get the next one. They could play that. Like, obviously they're not going to go out and say, we're going to suck, we're going to lose, So I think the pressure is on Miami. I really do. I'm not saying Miami's going to come out and shit the bed. I'm not guaranteeing a Celtics win. I'm not expecting, anything crazy. But at the same time, Miami knows that the pressure is on them.
I think you're right to a sense, because Boston really, I guess they are playing with house money still. But something else I want to talk about is Jimmy Butler. Jimmy freaking.
You agree? No, you agree with me to an extent. So what's the extent? What do you?
I think that the
agree?
Pressure has shifted. I still think Miami has a majority of the pressure. Again, blowing that 3-0 lead is huge. Yeah. But at the same time, no one expects them to win this game 7 in Boston. And that's when Miami has proven to be at their best, when they are playing when nobody expects them to win. Right. Everyone thinks Boston has this. And that's usually when Boston doesn't show up to play. So the Celtics are at their worst when they think they are going to win the game. I don't think the Celtics have that mindset, mind you. But I think the pressure for Boston is still there because you have done all of this. You've given all these fans something to root for, something to cheer for. The city, after a couple deflating losses by the Bruins and the Red Sox and the Patriots, have been, it's been, whatever a non-Celtics fan wants to say, it's been an up and down past couple years for the Celtics. You lost to the Warriors in the finals, and then the Pats have kind of come back down to earth, and the Bruins choked the biggest choke artist in NHL history, and the Red Sox have essentially sold their team, given their future away to buy the Pittsburgh Penguins. So it's like there's been a lot to not cheer for and a lot to be upset about as a Boston sports fan over the past 5 years. So the Celtics have now presented Boston sports fan with something to root for. And the pressure, I think, is on Boston to get this thing done. We are still asking them to do the impossible. That is to do the 0-3 comeback that no one ever thought would happen. We got lucked out by a lucky bounce. But at the same time, what did I say? You need some luck. So I think Miami probably has 59% of the pressure. But 41% of that pressure, I think, goes on to Boston. And with that being said, we have to talk about Jimmy Butler, Justin. You just have to. Play Jimmy freaking Butler, as one said in game 2. Or game 1. His last 3 games. 29 points in game 4, shot 9 of 21, 42.9% from the floor, 1 of 4 from beyond the arc. A minus 20 plus minus, however. Game 5, 14 points, shot only 10 times, 0 of 2 from behind the arc, 4 of 6 from the free throw line, a minus 24 plus minus, mind you. Game 6, he had 24 points. 12 of which were from the free throw line. 5 of 21. 5 of 21. 5 of 21 in a closeout home game, Justin. Jimmy freaking Butler, playoff Jimmy, has failed 3 times now to close out the Boston Celtics, 2 of which were at home. Jimmy freaking Butler. But yet you do not hear an ill word directed by the national media towards Jimmy Butler. Why is that? Why? If this was Jason Tatum, Justin, if Jason Tatum was shooting 5 of 25 or 5 of 21, at home in a closeout game after being up 3-0
and lost
and previously failing to close out the series after guaranteeing wins both times, he would be deemed one of the most overrated, one of the most unclutch, right? He would be scrutinized to another level. But why is it that when Jimmy freaking Butler, who has made the same amount of finals as Jason Tatum, who really hasn't won anything more than Tatum, why is it that when Jimmy Butler does this, the narrative isn't that, oh my God, Jimmy Butler, it's, the Heat are the 8th seed. They weren't even supposed to be here. Like they weren't even supposed to be up 3-0. Well, you were. And Jimmy freaking Butler hasn't showed up. He just hasn't. And dare I play the clip? Dare I play the clip? I'm scared to bust out the clip.
Just bust
it. Dare I play it?
Bust it.
Do I? I mean, is it bad luck? It might be bad luck.
Just play it. Who cares? Play
it. Oh my God.
What clip is it?
Did you see my Barstool interview after?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I'm not going to play it. I think it might be bad luck.
That might be bad juju. You're right.
That might be. I haven't posted it anywhere because I'm scared. But my point is it stands.
Right. What it stands is he's due.
Bro said busted. That's crazy.
Yeah, busted.
But am I wrong? Like what is your outlook? What is your outlook on Jimmy Butler? Because if my opinion, if that's Jason Tatum, I mean, I couldn't even imagine the things the media would be saying.
Yeah, I think that whole thing was just you telling me that Jimmy Butler's due for a big game. Just the way I feel, just the way my brain goes. But I think the most important thing has been, you got to keep Jimmy Butler off the free throw line. That's where a lot of his points came from in game 6. It was free throws. You said 12 of which came from the free throw line. Nearly half of his points came from the free throw line.
Half of them did. He had 24 and he had 11. No, you're right. Good math.
But thank you. But I think it's just important that, Jimmy's going to get his buckets. It's going to happen. Whether it comes from the free throw line, whether it comes from the mid-range. Honestly, shit my pants when Jimmy hit that 3 over Smart in the corner. I said, "Oh, go figure. The guy hasn't made a shot all game, and then he drills a 3." I just think, I think tomorrow night, I don't know, dude. I don't know with Jimmy Buckets, dude. He's such a baller. I don't want to talk shit about Jimmy,
But
because
don't you think for a second, I'm not talking shit about Jimmy.
No.
I'm just saying that maybe why is it there not been credit
get
to
it.
the Boston Celtics defense
get
over these past 3 games, in which has led Jimmy freaking Butler, right, to play very, very careless in he hasn't been performing to nearly the level in which we expect superstars to play and perform, Justin, right?
100%.
When you are Jimmy Butler and you are held to a certain standard, right? You need to meet that standard. Why is it that that standard in which Jimmy Butler is held to gets to pushed up and down, if you get what I'm saying? Why is it that it's like a rubber band where you can move it around, yet Jason Tatum is a frozen rubber band in which if you try to give him some leeway, it's going to break and the media is going to be all over him. I think that the media, the pressure, the talking has been on what Miami is on what Boston isn't doing and what Miami's doing.
If Miami wins tomorrow and the MVP award goes to Jimmy Butler, you will know that award just goes to the biggest name, because who on Miami
Caleb Martin
has been consistently their best player, who almost won the game last night, was one of the pretty much the reason why they were in the game last night. Caleb Martin.
Yeah.
Jimmy Butler. I don't want to see. I'm a big conspiracy theory guy. I'm a big superstition guy. I don't want to talk about Jimmy Buckets like that, but like he's very underperformed.
Why? Why?
Because I just feel like he's due. I just feel like he's that type of player where he just gets away with everything, where he could just be so cocky and like that whole timeout thing came back to bite us in the ass. And I know we did come back in the series, but like, I don't know. I just feel like that's just the way Jimmy goes, that Jimmy always gets the last laugh.
You know why you feel like that though?
Don't say it's because I don't have confidence in the Celtics.
No, it's not. Yeah. It's because that's what the driven narrative on Jimmy Butler is. What evidence supports that that's the Jimmy Butler that we see? I can pull up a couple examples. He had that Bucks series was phenomenal, right? He smelt blood. He took advantage of a Milwaukee Bucks series that would not fight back, right? 100%. He took advantage of a Buck, and he played a hell of a game 4 and 5. All-time games, 56 in game 4. That was Jimmy freaking Butler, right? That's the guy that we saw that deserved the attention. But since those 2 games, he's been virtually quiet. He just has been. And listen, he gave us 46 at the Garden last year in game 6. Credit, right? Credit. That was impressive.
Right.
But what I'm saying is that if Jason Tatum was doing what Jimmy Butler was doing on the national stage in which it's happening to Jimmy Butler, there would be
an uproar,
an unbelievable amount of criticism directed at Jason Tatum, rightfully so, because when your basketball team isn't winning, more times than not, the finger should go at the best player. And I've always said that, Justin.
Right. Just like exactly. Just like it was going to go to Jason Tatum, just like it went to Jason Tatum in the NBA Finals, right? Tatum was scrutinized against Andrew Wiggins when he did not perform in the NBA Finals. That same thing should be happening right now to Jimmy Butler in the Miami Heat. Bam Adebayo also, like, I haven't seen really anything crazy from him over the last 3 games. I don't know why they keep I don't know why they keep kind of planting Bam Adebayo as their best player. The player should follow Bam Adebayo. I don't get that. I don't get that. I don't get how he is their best player when Jimmy Butler is so evidently their best player. And then obviously this series, Caleb Martin Caleb freaking Martin. How about Caleb freaking Martin, not Jimmy Butler? Caleb freaking Martin. So you do have to tip your hat off to these certain guys, but I do agree with you that if the script was flipped and it was Jason Tatum going 5 for 21 on the Garden Parquet, losing in a closeout situation, there would be talks around the league about, is Jason Tatum really that guy? Is Jason Tatum, whatever the questions would have been. But I do think that was a good point. But I'm getting a little anxious here about tomorrow night, just because I don't know how tomorrow night's going to go. I mean, we got 48 minutes left in the Eastern Conference Finals, regardless, win or lose. 48 minutes left. It's all about who's going to want it more. Boston has to want it more. I've been saying that all series long. It's the winner's not the team that has the more talent. The winner's going to be who wants it more, who wants to win more. First 3 games, evidently Miami so clearly wanted to win it more, most notably in that game 3. Ever since then, Boston has fully taken control of the series, but they have to keep their foot on the gas pedal. Boston has shown throughout this series, even in their 3 losses, that they have no problem getting up to double-digit leads against this Miami Heat team. But Miami, the comeback kids, Miami's one of the best teams in the league at coming back. Boston has to keep their foot on the gas pedal. They cannot let their offense be their defense, and vice versa. They have to show up on their home court. Give the fans something to cheer about. Talk about the fans being okay throughout the playoffs. Give the fans something to cheer about at home. Let's go. Game 7, Celtics and Heat, TD Garden. It doesn't get any better than this. This is the second straight year these two teams have met in the conference finals. This is the second straight year it's going to a Game 7. Anything could happen. This is huge.
If Boston plays their best basketball and Miami plays their best basketball, Boston will win. It's that simple. If Boston plays defense, if Boston stays locked in for 48 minutes, they will not need a lucky bounce to go their way to go to the NBA Finals. The Celtics are 48 minutes away from being in back-to-back NBA Finals for the first time since the 80s. The opportunity at hand is there, and it is very, very real. However, we will see what happens. I think that there is a lot of pressure that I think there's like a PTSD feeling that the Celtics are going through right now. Celtics fans, where it's like, God, we've seen this team in this series play so bad, yet so good at times. You just don't know what you're going to get. And for some reason, we're all scared of this guy named Jimmy Butler. Hopefully, he doesn't do it to us in Game 7. But even if Butler throws us a big punch, I think there's a chance we can throw a big punch as well. That's a good point. Brogdon, we don't know what's going on with Malcolm, if he's going to play. I don't know if it was like let's bench Malcolm and hopefully. What?
Yes. Celts are wearing the greens tomorrow, baby. Let's go.
Are they? Let's go.
Superstitious. I was telling you I was superstitious. That's big. But yeah, I think, what's going to be a key to tomorrow night's game, Rob, and the reason why they fought their way back into the series, quite literally the reason why their series is alive, crashing the offensive glass, control. Apart.
And you know what? They were bad at it through 3.5 quarters.
Horrible.
It just so happened that Boston played a really bad game. I'm sorry, they did. Tatum really carried us in that first half. He got to the free throw line a lot. Outside of that first half, we were bad and we won. So if we even play a little bit better than how we did last night, I think we win. But we'll see. We hopefully next time we talk to you guys, we'll be happy and positive. I hope so. I'll be in house for Game 7. Super amped. I got you guys with stuff on the story. You guys have been killing the Instagram account recently.
Unbelievable.
We are growing very, very fast. So we thank you guys for all the support you guys have been giving us, because it does not go unnoticed. You guys are actually the best. Celtics Nation is the best fan base in the NBA. We got one more go at it. We are 48 minutes away from history. And I can't be more excited. However, what did Kobe say? Job's not finished. So let's see if they can do it. I'm nervous. I'm excited. I got all the emotions. The past 24 hours have been a roller coaster ride for Celtics fans, and I can't imagine what those players are going through. Guys, thank you so much for watching us and joining us in today of this little special we had and been doing. I'm Rob. Next to me, that's my guy, Justin. You guys have a phenomenal and blessed day. And until next